They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws to different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and I am super excited to be here on this beautiful Thursday morning. And it's almost getting closer to the end of the show, but don't worry, because like I said, I'm super excited to be here to share these amazing thoughts that I have, not just with you, but with everyone else who is listening in as well. All right. So make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to, text me, call me, whatever it is, you can do that on 07852473473. So, share your thoughts, share your opinions with me because I would love to hear what you have to say. All right. Don't forget to do that. And obviously, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, be a part of the show. All you need to do is just text me on 07852473473, like I said before. And you can also go follow us on our socials. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and actually make sure that you're always informed and updated about the very latest that happens, not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact all over the world as well. Okay, so before we head into the conversation, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and download the app, which is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store as well. All right, now before we head into the conversation, I want to very quickly talk to you about why exactly, I want to very quickly talk about why exactly working from home is on the rise. All right, and the reason I want to talk about that is because, recently with the adjustments that we've had to make in our lives, in our daily schedules, in our working schedules and whatnot, a lot of people actually had to work in their office, right? And then when the pandemic struck and everything changed, people could actually work from home, right? So basically what that essentially meant was that people didn't always have to go to work and they could work from home. So all of their tasks that they had to do, which they had to do when they were in office, those same tasks they could actually do when they were at home. And that was very comfortable because they didn't have to waste the time that they usually took up to travel from work, to travel from home to work. And even this problem of a claustrophobic commute and crowded commute and having to come in contact with people. And basically when you start your day in the morning, it can be very stressful, if you know what I mean. So that is what we're talking about. And to actually talk about that, and how exactly our lives changed when the pandemic struck and people were asked to work from home. There was actually this a lot of people actually grew very comfortable. However, there was also this problem of what are we now how do we actually draw the line between our personal lives and our work lives? Because when you're working from home, you're kind of mixing the two, right? So that line in fact becomes very blurry, right? And that is a problem that a lot of people had. However, even though that's the case, a lot of people have moved past that and they've gotten very adjusted to working from home. And now the reason I want to talk about why working from home is on the rise is because prior to the pandemic, actually, 1% of job vacancies that were advertised actually spoke about remote working. So only 1% of jobs actually focused on remote working. However, right now, what we're seeing is that about 5% of jobs are advertising home working. So now you can see that is, in fact, a significant increase in terms of working from home. All right. So that just goes to show that a lot of people love or just enjoy working from home, and a lot of this seems to be much younger people, right? And a lot of offices as well, they're sort of doing this whole they're actually focusing on this whole hybrid working system where they're working from home and then they're also working from home, but they're also going to office and working as well. All right, so that is absolutely amazing as well. Now we have Pavel Islam on Facebook, who keeps saying, who just said hi. Well, hello. We're very, very excited that you could be a part of the show. Please do text and call on 078 to share your thoughts and to share your opinions with us with regard to the pandemic, with regard to what we are talking about. All right. So I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts and opinions as well. So right now we're talking about why exactly working from home is on the rise. And like I said, there seems to be this hybrid culture where people will work at home half the time and then go to work half of the other times, right? And that means that it's going to be absolutely amazing, because that way you can actually make sure that your life is much, much more convenient. All right, and that's why working from home seems to be on the rise, because a lot of people actually prefer going to a lot of people prefer having to work from home, because it's much easier and much convenient for them as well. All right, now make sure you stay tuned, because right now we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking more about this. But until then, make sure that you stay tuned.
Cycling in London is not child's play. How to be a better cyclist. Listen to my show, only on Relaks Radio. I'm Kevin. Join me every Thursday, 5 p.m. Look forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. And I'm super, super excited to be here, because now we're going to be talking about how the home office is in chaos because of the Jamaican deportation that took place recently. All right. And the reason we're going to be talking about this, obviously, is because it's very, very important for us to keep in mind, and very, very important for us to remember as well, what is referred to as the Windrush generation. All right. And the reason I want to talk about this is because recently there was something that we refer to as the Windrush scandal. And, that is why the Jamaicans are currently being deported from the United Kingdom to Jamaica, and that is with regard to the Windrush scandal. All right. Now, before we actually head into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, be a part of the show. All you need to do is just text me on 078 So share your thoughts, share your opinions with me, and that way you can actually get in touch and let me know what you're thinking, and let me know what you're feeling with regard to what we are talking about. All right. And obviously, don't forget to go follow us on our socials. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. All right. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. That way you can always stay updated with the live videos that we are talking about as well. Okay. And actually, don't forget to download our app, because that way you can listen in from anywhere in the world at any time of the day from any device, right? Because it's available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And honestly, there's no better way to actually make sure that you're informed about everything, but other than tuning into our app. All right. So now let's very quickly talk about, the Windrush generation, why there is such a huge scandal right now, and why exactly this conversation is important, right? Because obviously now when it comes to the Windrush generation, let's very quickly talk about, who exactly is the Windrush generation? Why are they facing problems, and why is it happening right now? Now, if you don't know what exactly this is, now to very simply put it, the Windrush scandal actually broke out in April 2018. Now, what happened in this is that we actually saw how the UK government apologized for deportation threats that they made to Commonwealth citizens' children, right? And the biggest problem with this was the fact that a lot of these people who are referred to as the Windrush generation, they were living and working in the United Kingdom for decades, right? And many were actually told that they were here illegally because of a lack of official paperwork. And this was actually due to, the this was actually because the Home Office couldn't give them the official paperwork that were there, because these people actually came to the United Kingdom to essentially help with the labor market here in the United Kingdom, right? Now, ever since that happened, there have actually been report and compensation schemes that have been launched, but some people are actually concerned that this has not, that, there hasn't been enough that has been done, right? So, who exactly are the Windrush generation and how did they come to the United Kingdom? Now, people who arrived in the UK between 1948 and 1971 from all of these different Caribbean countries have actually been labeled the Windrush generation. And the reason they're called the Windrush generation is because they came in the ship that was called the MV Empire Windrush, which docked in Tilbury on the 22nd of June 1948, right? And these passengers that came on the ship were actually brought here to the United Kingdom to help fill the post UK labor shortages that were there. And the ship in fact carried about 492 passengers, and many of them were in fact children. All right. So one of the biggest problems that are currently there right now is, these people are actually going to get deported back to Jamaica, right? And basically, why this is such a huge problem is that, when they essentially came to the United Kingdom from these Caribbean countries, they were actually colonies of Britain, right? And because they were colonies of Britain, they didn't actually need passports or any form of identification or documentation, because at that point of time they were considered as British citizens, right? Because they weren't independent enough. So these people were actually considered as a part of Britain, because at that point we had the British Empire, right? And because of that, that's why these people couldn't get any identification of paper or even any paperwork, right? And then when all of this changed and these countries were released and they became independent countries by themselves, then these people didn't actually want to go back to Jamaica because they didn't know their country and they were much more comfortable living in the United Kingdom. However, now what's happening is there was this agreement back in 2018 where they said, okay, look, you know what, we're not going to deport these people. Instead we will compensate them, right? However, what has happened right now is the exact opposite, because now these people are being deported, right? And that is in fact a big problem, because this is not what the agreement was about. All right. And obviously, this actually happened, this actually happens, a few days ago when on Wednesday, a few hours before this controversial Home Office charter flight to Jamaica was about to take off, there was so much of chaos and confusion because more than a dozen people were actually removed from the flight after a lot of legal challenges, right? So a lot of people said, you know what, you can't actually do that because we've been here for a long time. And there was actually a court order that was given to a few individuals as well, who said that, you know what, they can't actually be deported like that. So there was this whole lot of chaos with regard to the Windrush generation. And in terms of those compensation that they were going to get, in terms of the schemes that were put in place to actually help these people, none of that actually has been done properly. So in terms of their perspective, in terms of everything they're going through, this is in fact this is in fact a huge injustice to them. All right. So that is what the conversation is about. Now make sure you stay tuned because we're going to head into a small break. And after that, we will be back to keep talking more about this. So until then, make sure that you stay tuned because we're going to head into a small break now.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow.